Excellency Dr. Musalia Mudavadi, Prime Cabinet Secretary, Foreign Affairs and Diaspora Affairs, the Republic of Kenya. Excellency, my brother, Ambassador Balaish, representing African Union. Also, I want to recognize a lot of friends, dignitaries, renowned personalities, and specifically I want to recognize the former Prime Minister of the Republic of Sudan, Abdullah Hamdok, and also Martin, Pekka, and others who are here. I want to thank you for coming and be part of this very important meeting. We gather today at a moment of profound consequences, not only for our region, but for the very idea of peace mediation itself. This is not an ordinary moment in the world political dynamism, and it is not an ordinary gathering, this one. We met at a time when the foundation that once sustained mediation are under visible and growing strain. The world that made mediation possible, anchored in shared norms, functioning multilateralism, and a minimum level of trust among states, is fragmenting before our eyes. We are not simply living through a period of crisis. We are living through in a very multiple challenges. An era in which mediation is no longer insulated from geopolitics, but shaped by it. An era of competing initiatives, fragmented authorities, and diminishing coherence. An era in which legitimacy is no longer assumed, but must be earned. At the same time, mediation is unfolding in an increasingly transactional environment. The space for principled, consensus-based engagement is narrowing, with short-term deal-making is gaining ground. And yet, precisely because of this, mediation has never been more necessary. Before I proceed further, allow me to express our profound appreciation to our host country. We are honored to convene this important gathering here in Nairobi, Kenya. I wish to extend our deepest gratitude to His Excellency President William Ruto, to his government and the people of Kenya for their unflinching and consistent commitment to peace and stability in the Horn of Africa. Kenya's role in advancing mediation and peaceful resolution in this region is both distinguished and enduring. Its leadership, political and material, has been indispensable to IGAD work. We are equally blessed by the presence of our guest of honor, the Cabinet Secretary for Foreign Affairs and Diaspora Affairs, the Honorable Musalia Mudavadi. Your Excellency, your diplomatic skill, your generosity toward IGAD and the region, and your consistent service to the peace are deeply valued. It is therefore, thank you. It is therefore most fitting we are holding this reflection here in Nairobi, Kenya, in recognition of Kenya's leadership and commitment to peaceful resolution. Resolution only comes through peaceful negotiation. May I respectfully request that Your Excellency convey to His Excellency the President and to the people of Kenya the collective gratitude of all those gathered here and of IGAD. For IGAD, mediation is not optional. It is our most visible political responsibility. Our people do not measure us by what we have promised. They measure us by what we have delivered. So far, we have delivered, and as well as we have failed. By the wars that do not happen, by the conflict that do not escalate, and by the peace that becomes possible. Mediation is where the credibility of multilateralism is tested. And in our region, it is where history will judge us. The region, that is the IGAD region, stands at the very critical moment, as the same as the world is. What we are witnessing is not a series of isolated crises, but the emergence of a system, a crisis as a system of conflict that is interconnected, regionalized, and deeply entangled with external dynamics. The boundaries between internal and externals have blurred. The lines between political conflict and geopolitical competition have all but disappeared. Wars today are fragmented, prolonged, and sustained by war economies. There is no longer a single center to negotiate with. What does mediation look like in the world without center? We are not starting from zero. IGAD carries a profound legacy of mediation. The efforts succeeded because they were anchored in a legitimacy, guided by political clarity, and supported by real coordination. But if our past gives us confidence, our present demands honesty and trust. But if our past gives us a confidence, let us think about the present and the future. As we have said, mediation today is under a very serious challenge. Now, we can bring a lot of examples how that challenge is going on. Too often it risks becoming a crisis management rather than a conflict resolution, because mediation is not a technical, mediation is a political, it's about power, and most importantly about legitimacy and trust. And ultimately, it is about building a shared future. We must confront a growing tensions that we are witnessing our region and beyond between principled mediation and transactional deal making. How do we end violence quickly without undermining sustainable peace? This is the central dilemma of our time. This is why this conference matters. We must reclaim mediation as a political strategy, resort multilateral coherence, and place people, not a process, at the center. Your Excellencies, distinguished participants, we must also speak plainly about Sudan. 3 years into a devastating war, mediation has not stopped this carnage. Despite sustained efforts, the latest being the Berlin Conference, including by multilateral institutions together or alone, we have neither halted the fighting nor secured a credible political process for our brothers and sisters in Sudan. They are still bleeding. The people of Sudan, which was very generous, hosting before 3 years millions of refugees from the region, now they are themselves refugees. So this is a failure. This is a challenge that we are facing about the reality of mediation, and it must be acknowledged. Sudan is fast becoming an epicenter of deeper crisis, the erosion of mediation itself. If mediation cannot make a difference in Sudan, its credibility everywhere is at risk. Sudan is one of the biggest nations in our continent. So if we cannot help Sudan, if Sudan is not peaceful, how the region can be peaceful? How can we talk about mediation and collective responsibility? So, Your Excellencies, we must change this clearly. Mediation must become unified, politically anchored, and strategically coherent, or it will continue to outpace by the wars it seeks to resolve. The cost of failure is not abstract. We cannot normalize permanent war. We cannot accept fragmentation as a destiny. What the region requires is not management, but a resolution. It requires political courage, Your Excellencies, and strategic clarity. Let this be a moment of decision, a decision to restore mediation and reclaim trust, a decision to act with urgency and purpose. Mediation is what we can do. Mediation is what we must do better. I thank you very much.